What's up? It's Chris from StonefoxMedia, and I hope everyone's having a blessed day. Now, I have some special news about Microsoft and Sony. I'm going to get started with Sony first, and then it's going to go to a Microsoft and Sony kind of combo. Okay, so it looks like the PlayStation 5 could pack a huge surprise, and this is according to Michael Packard. Now, every time I see Michael, I'm like, he's not 100% right all the time. Sometimes he just says straight nonsense. But let's just go for the argument, for the sake of argument, what he's trying to say. Okay, so talking to Gaming Bolt, he did say that Sony and Microsoft will provide a budget option for those who don't feel like they have enough money to spend on a brand new console. Now, one of the things that is being rumored is that the PlayStation 5 could be coming out next year. I hope it comes out next year. I think that would be great, me personally, but again, I think it's highly unlikely. They haven't announced it. It's not enough time to build a true amount of hype. If they announce it, it's got to be like March. And then they got to drop it like, the same time everybody else wants to do it, October, November-ish. That's a good time to drop it if you're going to do it. But it's got to be announced then. It can't be announced like, I don't know, when E3 is supposed to be. You know that place that Sony decided they don't want to go to? Has anyone ever heard of that? E3? Kind of huge, right? What Sony said is not going. Just in case you didn't know, they said they're not going to go. They're not going to be at E3 this year. Microsoft's going to go, but they're not. So they're going to be doing their own thing. So maybe it's going to be for the PlayStation 5. It's not far-fetched. They also said they don't have any plans to really announce any new games anytime soon. That's basically, I think the games that they got on the lineup is just about it. Because a new console is coming. So it would make sense if it came out next year. It's entirely possible. But anyway, speaking with Gaming Both, he did say that it is possible that they're both going to allow them to have budget options. I think that's a good thing because not everybody wants to have a hard drive. Some people are download only. I'm sorry, I just don't like that. But some people are download only and they don't necessarily need to have, CD drives or anything like that. And they don't really want to watch 4K movies. I think one of the biggest drawbacks with the PlayStation 4 is that it didn't come with like a 4K HD drive. It just didn't come with one. I know Microsoft comes with one. You can buy those 4K HD, and DVDs and Blu-rays or whatever. And you can't do that with Sony. They just give you basic Blu-rays. And I'm like, that's basic. I'm sorry. I don't like that. So he did say that I think that they're going to be offering a streaming service, like a $100 Xbox console that doesn't run in 4K or 240 frames per second. Now, let me explain this 240 frames per second real quick. I think we're in regards to the 240 frames per second. I think that's in relation to PlayStation VR or any kind of a VR service like a Xbox or anything like that. Basically, it's going to have like 120 frames per second per lens. So if you have like the PlayStation VR, it'll do 240. I think that that's possible. I still think that's highly unlikely. Most of the games don't even run that great. But I mean, anyway. Now he did also say that that there will be a more expensive console that supports 4K, 240 frames per second, and virtual reality. He doesn't know if there will be models, but they're not going to be entirely different. But he does think that Sony will be including the PlayStation VR built into the next PlayStation, which a lot of people have already speculated for that for quite some time. I think that would be good for them, so you don't have to have an additional box. If it could just be built in, that would be great. It'd also be great for people to have the NBA TV and things like that to be able to watch games on the floor seats or whatever and actually be able to do it with the PlayStation. That would be a great selling point for them. Me personally, I don't see a console coming out next year. It's entirely possible. I just don't see it happening. If they do, they got to hurry up and do it now because people need to know about it. Advertising is kind of important when you're trying to sell stuff. We don't want another Wii U situation. Everybody remember the Wii U? If you don't, I'm happy for you. Now, moving on from that portion, it does look like there's another thing that's going around that the PlayStation 5 and the next generation Xbox will be backwards compatible. Now, this is coming from the Hellpoint developer. Why can't it be Heaven Point? I like to point people to heaven, but this isn't. No, it's not spooky enough. Can't have Heaven Point. Be nice. Now, he did say at this point going forward, he doesn't think that Microsoft and Sony or even Nintendo have an excuse not to allow it. Now, I am in agreement with this. Him saying that it's possible that they could have backwards compatibility. I think that would be a smart move on their part. No special service, no special, if you want classic games kind of service. You don't have to go all the way back to the PlayStation 3 days, but the PlayStation 4 should be backwards compatible. The Xbox One should be backwards compatible. It's no excuse for it. If they do bust out a PlayStation 5 anytime soon or a new Xbox, people still have games that they still have to catch up on. People still have games they want to play. And what if it comes out, say, I don't know, let's say PlayStation does come out in November of next year, but people have already bought like Anthem or something like that, and they already bought it, and they're continuously playing it. Do they have to buy it again? You see where I'm going with this? Does the save data transfer over if it does have higher resolution graphics? How does that play out? It's smarter for them to allow backwards compatibility with it. These are basically like mini, like bootleg PCs. They're not nearly as powerful as them, so they should have no problem allowing that to happen. But I don't know. Sony's still working on that name change thing. I mean, it took them forever to kind of figure that one out. You change your PlayStation ID. I don't know why it took the whole entire lifespan of 20 years for you to figure it out, but they're finally on top of that. So if they do offer it as a backwards compatibility option, I think that would be really great. I think it was a big deal for like people who had Xbox who wanted to play the old Xbox games. People did enjoy that, and Nintendo messed up not allowing you to go back and play certain Wii games. I think they allowed you to do it on the Wii U, but I think they kind of pretty much stopped that with the next Nintendo. But I think that would be really good for the whole entire gamers as a whole if you can't play the older games with the people who still have them, and you can still jump forward anytime you want and get some 4K action going and still have the games look awesome. Microsoft is already there with what they did with the Xbox One X. They did a great job with that, allowing you to kind of seamlessly play either one and have it still look great. So if it's just going to be a graphical leap of everything running in 4K, every game being in 4K, I think that it should be no problem with them doing this. Well, that's all the news I got for you guys right now. Like, subscribe, follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook, so you know as soon as my news becomes available. Thank you guys for watching. God bless, and I'll holla at y'all later.